All right, can we see that?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So I just wanted to share with you what Paula and I have been doing the first 90 days of our coaching together, and then kind of what we have planned for the next 90 days, just to make sure that we are all on the same page as DOO and Rainmaker.
Okay.
So in the very beginning, we did something called the system evaluation. And for each system that the office has, or the team has, or lack thereof, I was asked to ask these questions to myself about what I observed with the system. So those questions are, what system is the team currently using for this process? Is it scalable? Meaning, if we were to grow like we want to grow, will these current systems be able to handle it? Is the system automated and paperless? Who is responsible for the system? Then I was asked to rate the ability of the team as far as the performance of the system, and then come up with some actions to improve that system.
Okay.
So the systems that I evaluated were the listing manager, including the listing processes, feedback, open houses, how she does showings, etc. The transaction coordinator, her whole entire contract to close process, her client care is included in that. Then I evaluated the lead generation, including where the leads are coming from, and then how they're distributed between the buyer and the seller, and then between the agents. I looked at the database, the current CRMs, we have quite a few, how those were operating, how the team works on those, manages those CRMs, any smart plans that we had or lack thereof, and the 36 touch. We went into marketing, including the social media, campaigns that we do, any sort of 36 touch falls into that marketing as well. And then accountability, including the agents and the admin staff. We worked on the GPSs, looked at 411s, and then really dove into time blocking, just to figure out how far they have gotten into accountability and what they were doing at the time of when I started. I looked at the hiring process or lack thereof, including recruiting and onboarding. I looked into the contracts that the team has with the agents and with the admin. And then I also looked at what kind of training they had, including 30, 60, 90s, the processes they have, and tracking. For each one of those systems, I created a flow chart system. It will all eventually go into a big onboarding booklet, but most agents like to understand flowcharts easier and quicker. So this one I put in here because it was, we had an issue with our agents not completely understanding the role of the listing manager and what was her role and what was their role. So I created the flow chart, color coded to where gray is agent, red is admin, and they can quickly look at this and go figure out what is their role and what they need to do in the process. We also took a look at profit and loss, and this was something that I was brand new to. I've never done one of these before in my past experience, so Paula was an amazing help with this. She gave me the MRA2 budget model Excel spreadsheet that had all the formulas populated already, so as I went through all of the accounts and the CDAs and tallied up everything, the numbers and percentages were right there and easy for me to be able to share that with the Rainmaker. We also started working with SBS, the Streamlined Business Accounting service. So I have been the point person for that. And because I had dove into the profit and loss on my own and figured all that out, I was able to really help them figure out how we run our team and which categories expenses fall into, what's above the line, below the line, etc. We went through some books. We took several chapters and pages from the MREA book, really dove into those, talked about the systems and the models and how that related to our position. We also got into shift, especially in the middle of our first 90 days, we were hit with COVID. So we took a lot of stuff from there on how to help our team transition. And then, like I said, COVID hit us, so the DOO coaching really helped to, well, first of all, she really encouraged me to get the team up and going on Zooms daily. We had some resistance with that in the beginning, and then we were able to push through, and we still do our Zoom accountabilities every single day, even though we can now meet in the office again. So it's actually added a very huge value to our team. We also have weekly DOO mastermind groups, and at the time they were really focusing on how do we survive and how do we pivot from this COVID. So we had discussions on what our accountability looks like now, ways we can try to continue to keep our goals being the same. What do our client events look like now, et cetera? How can we change those into something that is COVID appropriate? She really encouraged me to do bold pivot as well, and I was able to get all the agents on the team to do bold as well, and I took it with them, so that was a good experience for us together. And she's really helped with our goal and our number tracking, including the listings needed form. My personal team is not really great on the tracking, so that's something that we're really working on. That kind of sums up the first 90 days. Paula, do you have anything to add that I've missed?
Nope, you've done a great job.
Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next 90 days. I have created a 411 for June, July, and August. And Paul and I have discussed the needs, and from going through the systems evaluations, we've seen kind of areas that we want to focus on first. So my 411s do not include everything I do. These are just 411s for the projects that I'm going to start with. And the first one is getting our database fully into Command with the smart plans, and then working on training videos. We felt that as I create the smart plans in Command, I can also create a training video and put that in our training library to where eventually when we onboard people, they will know how to do it by going to the videos and watching them. And doing that at the same time just seemed like the streamlined way. So I don't think I need to go step by step through all of these. The main thing is just getting the database in there, researching the smart plans, which I've already done. I've already got some smart plans input into Command already. I did some research on training software. I found one that I really like, and it was $1,400 annually. So I went through our budget and found some areas where I could save that amount so that I wouldn't be adding anything into our budget. We just even Steven. I included in there, we're going to really dive into trying to maximize our Facebook Command ads. We've dabbled in it a little bit, haven't seen great results. So Molly, who is our marketing person, and myself are going to dive into that and do a Zoom call with people who know more than we do, so they can train us on how to effectively get good leads from that. And then that also includes really diving into the lead routing for the team and how to distribute those leads correctly within Command and figuring out how to use that. So that's my June. It also goes into July because this is a big project. And I've allowed for time for any things that aren't working correctly or not working how I thought, so I could revise them and make the changes that are needed to that. And then I also transition into getting contracts for the agents and for the admin. This is something that our team has never had. Nothing is in writing, and it does actually cause a lot of disconnect and a lot more drama where there doesn't need to be. So I've already created one contract, speaking with Darren a while back when I first started, and we're going to be revising that and getting the agents on board and having those one-on-one meetings, figuring out their agreements. And the same thing with the admin, and making sure that we are legal, and as far as respect to the payroll of getting the sick pay recorded on the pay stubs, etc. We iron all of that out. Continuing on with Command and creating the training videos. And then I'm assuming by the end of July, I'll be able to start monitoring the agent database use, making sure they're actually doing what they should be doing as far as entering things into their pipeline and following along the tasks that the smart plans give them. Moving on to August, it moves into some tracking. I'm going to be setting up CTE, trying to really focus on tracking sources better than we do now, really relying on the data and trying to make the agents and the team really understand the value that that adds to them and to their business. Continuing on with the database and really diving into the onboarding as well, along with that training system. They have a great onboard templates, and I'm just going to dive into that. I left week 4 of August blank because I figured that's almost 90 days out now, and I'm sure things are going to change and switch. So I left some room for error there. So, Jim, do you feel like from talking with Darren and knowing him and our team that these projects are the things that we should be focusing on?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially command, right? Especially command and more specifically making sure that the agents are getting their people set up on smart plans and that we're running effective Facebook ads on command to generate leads. That's important. And then I back to your chart, the gray and red chart where the agents are and now have clarity on what their lane is and what the listing manager's lane is. That'll help in the long run too, so that everybody has clarity on that, and that if agents are overstepping their bounds, or probably more likely if agents aren't doing the things that are in their realm, right. They can be reminded and just to go back to that form and they can see it.
Right.
So yeah. I think that's great, and I think obviously the P&L, getting that set up is going to be helpful. CTE so that we can track the business day to day, week to week. That's all high on the list. So yeah, I can see that there are a lot of things in here that we've got set up that y'all worked on in the first 90 days. And then, moving those things forward. And these are all pieces in the business that are going to help us track things better and just have know what's happening in the business constantly.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as we come to the end of this next 90 days, we'll also come together and meet again to make sure we're all in alignment on what the next 90 days look like. So we'll put together, again, what we feel is the most pressing, and you guys can weigh in on that to make sure we're headed in the right direction.
Yeah, I know that as Darren and I have talked about it, we're all in alignment that this has been, this first 90 days has been a good fact-finding mission for us, and we've gotten some things implemented that needed to be implemented. And then I think it looks like this next 90 days is all about implementing even more. So we're on the right path for sure. And the thing, that back to the very beginning, it sounds like there were some director of sales conversations that you were having with agents, and and eventually that's not going to be in your role. I think that's, Paula, part of the deal is that Jessica is so talented across so many different roles. She's able to do that. And one of the things that we obviously need to do is hire a director of sales, get that person in to keep the agents focused, to keep them accountable, so that Jessica can get out of having to do that herself and really focus on these systems and operations. But
yeah, we were really lucky that Jessica came in with that experience that she could step into that role temporarily.
Yeah. We knew that we were hiring Jessica. We knew that when we were hiring Jessica, she was talent. In fact, I had to slow Darren down because he was ready to hire her after day one. And I said, "Whoa, hang on a minute. We got to pump the brakes and let's make sure we put her through the process." And he did. And working with you and because of Jessica's talent and her experience, we're really moving, getting the business more organized and packaged so that we can really see what's going on. And it's been very helpful, very helpful.
And that brings me to my next thing from you, Jim. I'm going to kind of go over what I currently do in addition to these projects, and then maybe you can help me identify the things that should be the first to be off of my plate, either when we hire someone new or maybe hire an assistant or something.
Yeah.
In addition to my projects, I'm also doing the agent accountability. I actually really like that part. And I'm doing admin accountability as well. So I'm holding them accountable to making sure they get their things done. I've actually made quite a bit of progress with our listing manager and getting her 411 down and time blocking her day so she can be more productive. I'm doing some mediation between the agents and admin, kind of going back to that flow chart that I created. They, really need to have the clear roles, and that will clear up some of the miscommunications and drama that can come from that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm overseeing the marketing. So I don't create the marketing content, but I'm always keeping the marketing person on track and making sure she's doing the things that we need on her deadline. Agent oversight as well, making sure they know exactly what's going on with the team and when they should be where they should be. If they come to me with wanting, to do this or that kind of rolls into the next thing of expense approval and monitoring. So I'm kind of overseeing all of that, making sure it's within our budget. I'm responsible for the mailers. The marketer creates a mailer. So we have 2 different farms. And then I order it, it gets shipped to me, I package them up, take them to the post office. The other farm mailer, I'm just responsible for managing the deadlines and making sure that that artwork is sent to them via email so they get it out for us.
Okay.
I create the sales meeting agenda, I put up the numbers and kind of keep the meeting on track every Wednesday. I'm doing the monthly budget, making sure we're staying on track with our P&L, paying some of the monthly bills, making sure the invoices are all taken care of that need to be done. And then I've most recently started doing property management for Darren's rental properties. So those are just the things off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think moving forward, anything we can get you to do to not be doing the one-on-ones with the agents, that would be obviously the director of sales responsibility.
Okay.
And then we can either have the director of sales report to you or Darren or both in an ops meeting. Right.
Okay.
And taking you out of that, not so that you don't have any knowledge of it, taking you out of it to the point where you don't have all of the knowledge, right? You're not doing the one-on-ones, you're not doing the 411s, because we need to keep you in with admin, and all those other pieces that we looked at before.
Okay.
Yeah.
The great thing is you've created that relationship with them, so you've been able to bring them together with admin as we start to make systems better and get everybody's buy-in more, because you have that great relationship with them.
Yes, that was very important to me.
Yeah, I that is great, and it's look, we're a team, and it's a team of salespeople and admin people. Mm-hmm. And it sounds to me like a lot of what you're working on is meshing those two together, and that's that's part of your role too.
Yeah, exactly.
The other thing I foresee too, like Jessica's starting this training program for new agents. I do see a director of sales taking that over at some point.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and yet right now we need Jessica to put this together.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's going to be a lot of things that we ideally we get to a point where you're not touching anything on a day-to-day basis that has to do with sales.
Okay.
Right, where somebody's reporting to you about that, reporting to you and Darren about that. We've got systems in place where we can see that, and the director of sales is holding the salespeople accountable to their activities and the standards of the salespeople set on the team.
Okay.
So yeah, it's good. It's good. That's a good 90 days. And that's I like the 90-day forecast on where we're going and what we're working on. It's perfect.
Great. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Jessica. You did great.
Sure.